Looks like your agenda has a special request to call the meeting to order at 6:07 p.m. Ouch.
No, it shouldn't say that. It just says 6.
That's
Last time reading this room, it says call to order by Mark.
That's the minutes.
Oh, this is the minutes. I'm sorry. Look, I don't know what your agenda is.
They do.
All right, that's 6 p.m. Let's get it
I'll call the
going.
meeting to order at 6 p.m. Roll call, we have Nina, Pat, we have Janet and Kyle on Zoom. And we have Justin.
Yep.
Representing Lori from the town board.
Just make sure you pull your mic in close to talk, so that they hear you on Zoom clearly.
Can you hear me well?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Adoption of the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
I will make a motion to adopt the agenda of March 15.
Did anyone call out the written notice of the read off the first paragraph here? Or do you guys wait for the,
No, we don't. You typically don't do that. We do the agenda and then the pledge of allegiance. And then we notice the upcoming meetings and then we approve the prior meeting minutes.
usually when you call the meeting to order, and I'm only saying this because other people get dinged for it. It's you state I hereby provided our written notice and the agenda of the public meeting as stated below. There's an opportunity for public comment as noted on the agenda upon recognition by the presiding officer. Items on the agenda which are not scheduled for a specific time may be considered at any time with the motion of a committee member.
Would we need to repeat that, Jake?
Nope.
Okay, thank you.
Good,
Yeah.
because I've
Yes,
stated it for you.
Okay. I tend to paraphrase it. So.
I think
perfect, thank you.
Janet, you do that all the time, so.
Yeah.
I'm just rusty, so.
Yeah.
We did the call to order, we did the roll call. The adoption of the agenda, we had a motion made by Nina. Is there a second to that?
Yep,
I'll
I'll
second it.
second it.
We'll take Janet's second.
Okay.
Is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Agenda was adopted. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That worked well, Nina. We can see the flag in your from your computer.
Oh.
We have listed the upcoming meetings. The Technology Committee, the Finance Committee, the Public Works, the Planning Commission. I think we are interested in that meeting because they're talking about the
Bills?
what is it, the funds that we collect, the
Impact
Yep,
fees?
the impact
impact
fees
fees.
and the right of way. I have on my calendar to attend that either in person or via Zoom.
Okay. And then spring elections, they're very important too.
Yeah.
And the two town board meetings. Now we have two sets of meetings. It shows that we're only approving one set. How do we change that to two sets, or don't we?
The other set that we had, it was just last time we hit it, there was something that needed to be corrected.
Yeah.
And so that's why I sent that back to Terry, and then so that she'd have the corrected version.
But on our agenda, we just have approving one set. Can we do two? Do you know anything about that, Justin?
Yep, you
I
can,
think,
yep, you can do both. You would just have to take a separate motion to approve the second one.
I had a comment on the one on February 15. Maybe it's my interpretation. By business says review and discussion of park properties. And it says Town Hall Park and Preservation Area. Slide bids will be out in January, while the minutes are from February 15. Is it my English that I interpreted wrong, the wording? Because when you say slide bids will be out in January, but we're in the February 12th meeting. So,
Did I have it that way on the agenda? Maybe it was the agenda was
Well,
that way.
no, that's in
No,
the
it was
minutes.
it was my notes and I put that they were supposed to be out in January.
Yeah,
Were they, when were they out? The slide bids?
Early March.
I think they were, didn't it go out in January and came in February? Maybe Justin, you remember when you guys opened the bid?
Oh, my, the email from Lee says we received the bids on the site work and the email was March 6th.
So the bid came out March 6th.
Around that time, yep.
Yeah. So then
Okay.
maybe we
well,
should
I'll
change the wording and say it will be out March, period. we
Okay,
didn't
slide
need to
bids
put-
will be out in March.
Yeah,
Okay, I will do that.
otherwise I said, how come?
Yeah, I don't know why I had it
Well-
written January and I don't,
Yeah.
so.
That's all.
okay.
That's the only thing I noticed. which
Okay.
was-
So in that case, what you can actually do is just a conditional approval if you wish, so you can update them in your motion to approve them and then just say, I update with the correction of X in your motion.
Yeah, I will make a motion to approve the minutes from February 15 with the correction of the business point 3. Side bids will be out in March. And if you correct that, then it's fine.
Okay,
I'll
And I'll
second
second.
that. Motion made by Nina, seconded by Mark. Is there just further discussion on that?
So
All in favor?
I,
Aye.
I-
Opposed? Minutes for February 15th, 2023 approved. There is one correction to make it on our agenda says 22. but
yeah,
Yep.
I
yours must
caught
say
that too.
23. Now we've got the January, what's the January meeting, or what's the date? On the
It was-
January minutes,
January. Thought it was like 18th, let's see.
I think so too. Yep, January 18th.
January 18th. Is there a motion to approve the January 18th minutes?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes from January 18th, 2023.
I'll second those. Is there a discussion on that, on the minutes from January 18th?
No.
All in favor for the approval of the January 18th, 2023 minutes? In favor? Aye. Opposed? January 18th, 2023 minutes approved. Public comment. No one's in the audience. Anything from you, Janet, on that?
The only thing, and this would be for Justin, I was on, when Nina and Mark were at the meeting and I was on Zoom, but I went off Zoom before one of the later agenda items up actually, I don't know if it was an agenda item or maybe it was just an email. No, I don't remember. But the St. Croix Bike Coalition, which we're a part of and Mark is a part of, is putting on an economic development a presentation in April. Do you know if that, oh, no, May. Do you know if that was discussed with the board or if that came up?
Let me take a look.
It's-
It doesn't ring a bell immediately, but
Janet, it's a what? An economic,
Yeah, it's economic development. We're putting on a bike and trail summit, I guess they're calling it,
okay,
on May 11th. It's called an expo from 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And it's at the St. Croix Valley Business Innovation Center. There's going to be speakers from all over, and the what's the person's name from the county, Mark? Brad Buteau sent an email inviting our board members to that.
okay.
The town of St. Joseph board members, and I was just going to say that, you know, Kyle, myself, and I think Mark will be there at that summit.
Janet, can you tell me the date and times again?
May 11th,
From-
8:30 a.m. to 11:30 p.m.
I thought you said
AM, 11:30 AM. It's 3 hours.
Yeah.
May 11th?
Yes.
Yep.
May 11.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was just wondering, Justin, if any of the other board members are gonna go or if that was brought up for discussion.
so I'm looking back at the agenda from the March meeting. And under Park Trails and Recreation, we had a review of the award for the bid. We had Fall Festival.
Nope, it was later than that. It wasn't part of the Park and Recs. It would have been later than that, but
I don't see anything on here that requests any information on this.
okay.
The only
So
thing
it
that,
was probably just the email. Oh, go ahead.
so I don't have anything on here for that, and I do not recall seeing an invite from anyone that came to me as a board member. Who would it have come from?
Terry.
And it was about,
Yep, I can, oh, here it is. It's 2023 tourism routes to the future, save the date.
March 7th, it came.
It came to you, Rick, Lori, Chris, Teresa, me, and then Mark, Nina, and Pat got it. So I guess everybody on our committee got it.
is there a fee to this? Is that why it was going to the board?
Nope.
What
Well,
day?
you know, I guess I don't know that. I don't think there's a fee. Is there, Mark? I don't think so.
No.
What day
I'm
was
really
this?
sure there's not a fee.
What day was this sent?
I just
7th?
forwarded it to you, March 7th.
Should we possibly send this notice to Terry and have her forward it to all the board members, Janet?
Here it is.
She did already, so.
It came, but it was forwarded the afternoon of the 7th, which is probably why it didn't make the discussion for the board, because
Yeah.
it came in too late for the discussion to occur.
Okay, well, I guess it could be put on the April agenda and I can just have, I can see if Teresa wants to do that. I just, mostly my point is that we are gonna be there, but I'm interested to know if a board member will be going or wants to go. I think it will be very interesting.
Yeah.
It sounds interesting.
And I don't think there's a fee, but I know that it is limited to, I think 150 people. That's all that will fit in the place that they're having it.
Okay.
So do you want me to, I can follow up with Teresa on that.
Nope, I already sent it over to everyone in the group, just saying, please add this to the April board meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments before we start our agenda? Number one on the agenda is the committee meeting updates. We just went through that. And of course, our interest on the plan commission, being that the impact fees for the two trails we designated should come up there. Number two, ball field updates. What do we know that happened at the board, Justin, on that?
I know that the ball field update for the shed they wish to build was approved to build it, and that Supervisor Marshall agreed to donate the, I believe it was the footing, and he was helping out with also for the baseball diamond to resurface the baseball diamond agate.
The aggregate? Is it
Aggregate, okay, and I believe because Supervisor Marshall's response, they did do the 3-year agreement for the baseball team. But I'd have to go back and check the meeting minutes to confirm.
They did, they
Okay.
approved, everything was approved.
Okay,
Yeah, I saw the contracts being signed by John from the Piper, is it, or
Yep, sandpipers.
Sandpiper?
yep, so it sounds like there's the 3-year agreement with the Sandpiper of the base for the shed that they needed built, that the, sounds like the baseball team is going to build as kind of a work group thing, and then that they were also going to find a solution for the aggregate on the baseball diamond.
Any questions on that? It looks like
No.
Sandpipers signed the agreements on the field and we worked through the shed building and the improvements to the field.
Okay,
Thanks, everyone involved with that. Good to get it done,
ready to go.
Yeah,
so. As far as any other updates, I think I haven't got anything to you, Janet.
Nope,
2023 budget.
I don't have anything updated on that either.
We have the budgets on our little stack here from the, is there any reason to go through anything that anyone can think of right at this time?
No, I just looked at for the playground equipment, there's a $90,000 approval for that. And
And that's on our agenda later on to talk about.
yeah,
you
so
know,
let's do that.
I'm a little curious, I see the $90,000 on the P and L. But Parks, Trails and Rec, is there a reason you guys have a net income of January to December of minus 7,334
Where are you seeing that?
on the P and L at the bottom?
well, the animal, let's see, the animal control comes out of there, trail system and professional fee for the outdoor plant.
I don't know, is that, could that be something that was supposed to be done last year and we got billed this year? I don't know, anything that's about that cost is usually something for Stan Tech. Their bills are around 5,000 for us, but I'm not sure without looking at it what that is.
Well, they have the professional fee for the outdoor plan, that's 3,700. They're almost 3,800. Trail system,
So what we're looking at, and I don't know if you have a copy of this or if you need me to try and show you, but essentially, as I'm looking through this, January through December of 2023, under restrooms, you have a charge of $296.35. You budgeted for 4,000. Under Perch Lake parking lot, you have a cost of $65.88. You budgeted 1,000. I assume that's just the restroom out there.
Yep.
You have a charge for $1,342. Under trail system, you have a budget of 10,000. I'm not 100% sure what falls into trail system.
Is that for 223? Is that what you're saying? So within those 3 months we have been running?
Yes.
Okay,
So, and then under budgetary item 55220, professional fees, outdoor plan of 3770. Total expenses equated to $6,115.77. And
And then we add animal control to that.
where do you see animal control
Up
fee?
towards the top. Under.
Oh, yeah,
54,
that's
100.
under a different expense group. I'm just looking under your separated expenses for actual operation of parks.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
animal control too.
I understand that, but I'm looking at the block bid out of the H&H services and then the total bid out projects costs. So your total costs come out to the 73,3452. And for this, you have a
so that is 3,400 is from Stantec.
I'm assuming the 1377.7 is from Stan Tech.
Yep, that is for the outdoor rec plan, you said. But I don't know what the 1342 for trail, I don't know what that is, unless that's work that they did for the impact fees, but I don't think that's supposed to be under us. Isn't that supposed to be under plan commission?
That would be a wonderful question for the treasurer.
Yeah, because I don't, can any of you, Nina, can you think of anything that we would have spent money on for the trail for this year so
No.
far?
No, everything has been closed. We haven't done anything for the trails.
Because if I then go to your PTR transaction detail report, I see your animal control work, which is the 264 for this period, February 10th to March 9th. And so that 1342 happened prior to February 10th, as far as I can tell. Because you
Yeah.
have your professional fee outdoor plan of 3,400. So if you're looking at your detail report, and I don't have last period's detail report from the budget, Stantec charged you $3,400. So between February 10th and March 9th. 3,400 for your outdoor rec plan. Waste management charged you $32.64, which is probably just their monthly retainer for the Perch Lake parking lot.
Yep.
About the 1342, the only thing I can maybe think it is, because it says trail system. I know was it October, November, the end of last year, Tuma went and fixed the trail.
He smoothed out, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless he passed the bill this year, I don't know. That's the only expense we have had with trails, because we normally have Kyle doing all the work on the trails.
Does anybody have last month's the budget that the list of things, because maybe there's something in there.
You'd be looking for the PTR transaction detail report if you want to answer that question.
Because like you said, it was 3,400 for the outdoor rec plan, and then the last one was the 3,770. That would make sense because they have been doing work for us on that.
So the way it goes is your P&L, so profit and loss budget versus actuals. That's a combination of everything you've done expense-wise from January 1 until current.
Mhm.
So it only accounts for 2023. My assumption here is that between February 10th and March 9th, Stantec invoiced your group for 3,400 for the Parks Trails, the the town hall playground professional services are 3,400. And then you had 300 and whatever it is, $377 in expense in your first set of PTR bills from Stan Tech that would go under that. But the reason I bring this up is because we have to be very mindful of understanding our P&L budget and actuals and our transactions every month to make sure we stay on track.
Mhm.
Because it's a very sensitive subject to a lot of people.
Yeah, I understand.
And PTR gets the most attention for spend because you guys are the second largest spend of the town. So everyone talks about you.
About how we spend the money.
Correct. So as long as we're really clear about it, and what I always tell people is, as long as you can explain it, then no one will question it.
Which would be helpful for us to
Mhm.
be able to explain is that we get a copy from the bill or a little bit more information where this.
Yeah, so that's
Response?
where
Because
the.
we get the same thing you get and we have to guess.
Well,
what
that's what
could-
the PTR transaction detail report is. So if you look at that, it's the
I don't-
second sheet. And what it does, if you've ever worked, I come from the accounting world. So if you go through the PTR transaction detail report, you'll see your cost centers, which are at the far left. So like 5,400 should match your 5,400 on your P&L sheet. And it'll give you each invoice, the amount paid, and the amount totaled. And then you go down to 5,500, which is considered parks, trails and recreation. So that's why when you were talking about animal control, that's a different cost center than PTR. But you guys are combined in your responsibility for those things. 5,400 animal control, 5,500 PTR, and then you break it down by subcategories. So in the first one, you see 55,200 park expenses. That's broken out into 55,201, which is your bid out project costs. and your
I don't see
administration.
all what you are saying, I don't see that. Maybe do we have the same
Okay,
thing?
so if you're looking in this,
Yep, I see what you're saying here. the people-
yep, so you're gonna walk through and then what
we
these
have
are
here the
is,
numbers that, he had the. what
so
you're talking-
these are the accounts.
Yeah. Those are the checks,
These are the check numbers. They include these values,
yeah,
but this is only for this period, February 10th through March 9th.
yeah,
This is a combination of everything done for 2023. That's why it says January through December of 2023. This is your breakout this month.
okay,
So every month you should be getting a detailed report
yeah.
that then updates this.
So how do I match up and make sure that it matches up here? For example, give me an example, because then I understand it better with an
Sure.
example.
So an example is if you look at 5,400 HHS.
Yep.
Or excuse me, H&H services.
Yeah. Annual control, 1,280.
Okay. But if you look in your itemized. You guys don't have a reoccurring expense, do you?
No, well,
Oh, you do. You have
lawn
the,
mowing,
let's look at the waste management. 2/1 to 2/28 under invoice number, and you see that it's 3264.
yeah,
So 3264. And then you can see that your totals are 6588, or
because this is for 1 month and this is for the accumulated 2 months.
very good. So
Okay.
that's how that would go.
Okay, I see that. And then here, professional fee outdoor recreation plan, 3,400. So you're concerned about the 7,000?
Well, I'm asking how you can have a negative total expense
Yeah,
without any. It just seems a little misleading by labeling it that way, I guess, in my world. It's not how we would do a P&L, but it may be done differently in government.
I'm not an accountant, but at least looks very misleading to me too.
Well, and.
So I think-
Because I just want to make sure everyone goes through their budgets, because like I said, you guys are one of the first to be called out. Because outside of roads, this is where everyone's like, why are we spending all this money? What are we getting for our money?
And Justin, I agree, we have to look at our budget, but we don't see all the bills when they come, if they're accurate what was agreed, because the town agrees it. We approve it, for example, if it is the cleaning the restrooms,
Mhm.
it's that much. We don't keep track every single time how much it is.
But
But
we
we
do,
keep
but Nina, we
is on
do
the-
get,
What?
Nina, we do every month when we come there, Terry has a copy of what you guys should have. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure what she calls it,
Yeah,
but
that's
it
what we
does,
have.
it does
to do.
have our expenses. And I
Yeah,
do,
we-
look at that every time to make sure that they're ones that that I would know about. But
Yeah, so if
have-
all of a sudden, what I would say is like, if your cleaning expense was. And I'm just gonna give an example. Let's say that your cleaning expense was $500 instead of what you anticipate. That's how you would see this, and then it would reflect on your P&L sheet, your cover sheet.
Yeah,
And you would look like you're over budget. And the reason I was asking about this in total is because your budget. Oh, 100,000, 8,200. So that's 100,000, 122. Okay. Okay. So as long as you guys understand how the P and L sheet and the transaction detail report tie out,
yeah,
then you guys can be really diligent in walking through it and making sure that if you have questions or if it's something that the board approves and you guys are like, this seems incorrect to us as a committee, you would see that on your PTR transaction detail report.
yeah. So how do we deal? And I think it's good to clear that up first. For example, we say they have to do some work on the trails. For example, Tuma. And he
Okay.
says, well, it'll cost you $1,000 or $1,500, but for whatever reason, there's some extra labor in there, he will charge more because he goes by the hour or whatever. I don't know how. Then how do we deal with that? Because we have no control when he comes with a higher bill.
So if there's a situation where a vendor comes to you and you have an agreed out bid. So you
Well,
have an
that's not
agreement,
bad.
well, you have an agreement
Yeah.
with this vendor. And the vendor comes in and says, it'll cost you $1,500 to whatever it is you want to do. And they come back and it's 2,500. So reflectively in your budget, you have to account for that. But if it wasn't approved by a providing, an officer of the township, it can't get approved unless the board then has to go take special action because there's tolerances.
So what you are saying, and I understanding what they do under construction, you have a budget for doing X amount of work. And something comes up and they have to spend $500 or $1,000 more. You have a change order, you bring that, that's approved, and then.
And then they can go do the
So
work.
is that what you're saying every time? Whoever does it has
There's-
to come to us, that we are aware of it, and then it has to go to the town board to approve it.
So there's some tolerance in that, right?
Well,
Because there's
it's-
reasonability. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
you wouldn't
If
bring,
it's $25.
you wouldn't bring a
that's
$20 right situation, and it's handled piece by piece too,
Yeah.
right?
okay.
You'd have to go pull the exact verbiage the township has. But in those cases, that's why you're looking this over. And it also helps if you're making sure that your transaction detail report and your P and L, think your November timeframes. That's when budgets start to get tight, right? Because we've been spending throughout the year. That's when you can make decisions on, do we have the money left in the budget to go do this? Or
Yeah,
is this
right.
something we have to discuss for next year?
That's common sense, yeah.
Yep, so that's
Okay.
why I just want to make sure that we're talking about it and it's something that, like the technology committee doesn't spend a lot.
Okay,
But the admin, what's the word I'm looking for? Zoning admin, they spend a lot. They have a lot of transactions that go through because every build out is done, every plat, every variance cost, every zoning administration cost, all that stuff comes through. And there's a lot of in and outs. So we have to go
And-
through the budget pretty thoroughly to make sure nothing's off and that everything got coded correctly, because you don't want things going to the wrong pool.
Yeah,
So,
and just to clarify, I have been on the park committee for many, many years.
Mhm.
And we have now a new playground.
Hmm.
We have another issues. We have a lot of things going on the last few years. So I understand that people is, wait a minute, where's the money coming? Eventually, when everything, we hope so, when everything is done, they say, oh, we have a nice place. Some people will still complain, that's normal.
Yep.
But this last few years, we have had quite some expenses, and there will be some more expenses next year too.
I am not one of the people who has an issue with it. I just want to make sure that,
Yep.
as I say, and I've said this to Lori when she was having the discussion with me, as I said, if you can defend it and you can explain and articulate it, then it really doesn't matter.
Okay. And it goes to the
And-
town board. Eventually, the town board has to make the decision.
Yeah, blame those guys.
So we,
Okay.
so we still don't know where that 1342 is for the trails. So do you
No,
want me to ask Terry about that? Because I don't
yeah, that
think
will be good
that's the,
because it's quite an amount of money.
Yep, so I would just send a notice to request additional information as to what was costed under account 55215 trail system for a total of $1,342.
okay, I will do that.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Sorry, I know that's a little bit of a discussion, but it's helpful, I think.
That's fine. That's very good information. Thank you.
So we'll go back to our budget thing in April. And thank you for helping us out, Justin, on figuring that out. Discuss the outdoor recreation plan, final approval and meeting with Stan Tech. That's yours, Janet.
Yep, so I didn't hear back from Sarah, but I sent her, she has access to those final few corrections that we all had. The pictures, Nina, that you sent.
How did you get the pictures? I'm curious because I gave the stick to Terry. And I don't know if she has uploaded them to the
She
drive.
did, they're all on the Google Drive.
Okay, I did not see them there, but
Yep,
anyhow.
and then your explanation of it was on the Google Drive. And so I sent that to Sarah. Terry is supposed to make sure that she has access to that. And then
Okay.
I told Sarah in the email that we will set up a meeting as in April to finalize it.
Okay,
So do you guys want to do, should we do it before our meeting in April, like at 5 or something?
I think that would be good for one meeting we have.
'Cause then we'll have everything set up and the
Yeah.
microphones and all that set up.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it'd be good to have it outside of our meeting or early at 5. I think that's the best way. So thank you,
Okay.
Janet.
Okay, so I'll continue to work on that. I'm hoping that we get it done. Oh, actually, I had said to Sarah, maybe we would do it before the next meeting so that the board could approve it in April. But I haven't heard back from her, so I'll just be in touch with you guys. We'll get something set up, but as soon as I hear back from her, we'll get
Okay.
that done.
Number 2, discussion on the Sandpiper agreement and work to be completed.
Yep,
From
we
what I
did.
remember of the board meeting is that the Sandpiper group will be in contact with Chris Marshall as far as putting up the building, where and the aggregate needed for the field. And the contracts have been already signed, so I do think that right now we're in a good spot there, Janet.
Yep, we are.
Just to
in- yep,
clarify,
Justin just made it.
Chris Marshall was gonna do the footings for the building, did you say?
Yeah, he's gonna donate the footing for their building, and I believe the location was approved based on the recommendation of that shed. If I
where
recall.
was
correct.
the recommendation? Do you know? I don't know where it was recommended.
Well, they had talked about having it along the first baseline,
It was gonna be between the first baseline and the bathrooms, I think.
right, so it'd be,
Let me just sign in real quick and I'll share the screen with you guys.
I don't recall the footings being mentioned. I called the aggregate for the field and that he would help with the building.
Well,
so
the,
was he donating the aggregate as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yep, and I remember that part too.
okay, give me 1 second.
But then Chris was gonna get in touch with John and so they could work together.
Well,
Yep, they did an exchange of phone numbers.
okay,
And if you give me 1 more second, I will open up the Zoom on my laptop and show you guys. Nope, not what I wanted.
this one, make sure.
No, maybe I won't. One day we'll have uniformity in naming conventions.
Well, that's okay.
So
I'm just curious about.
it was located. Anyone remember the name of the agenda item? I think it was the ball field.
Yeah, so I think we were 7.
7
Did I have
slide project, sand trap. So the shed agreement,
Yeah,
and that was that. So now let's see if my. What's really nice about Dell is they at least circle the issue with the laptop.
It's all right. You don't have to find it from.
Yeah, so it was located, share screen. Anyway, I guess you can't share the screen anymore.
It's okay.
Essentially, if you want to, it's located in the Google Drive. And where they have it listed as on the just outside of where the restroom is. It's like, I don't know, 40
okay,
feet away
Justin.
from the restroom, and they have it listed as an 8x10 shed.
That's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll move on. Number 2 on that discussion was review. Number 3 is review the discussion of the town of St. Joe Park properties, site inspections, action plan updates. We have a couple materials that Janet had forwarded to us by the town clerk. One was the Parks Management Plan. We've gone through that already. And the other was.
that's
this-
down on number 6, Mark. That's for number
That's not,
6.
that's down
the
in
mark.
business, not down here.
Oh, is that right? Okay. So then, are you looking at the Pacific Park Management Plan right now, Janet? With the,
No. No, it's just each park, we go through each park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the first one is the town hall.
down to it.
So then we've got these sheets that you had sent out that we had looked at before.
Yep, that's also under number 6, Mark. Sorry. That's
Oh, is
just
that
separate.
right?
That's just separate. Let's just go through the parks.
Let's just go through the parks.
Yeah.
First one is the town hall park and preservation area. Distress slide area updates from Stan Tech bids, Nina and Lori. And now it would be Nina and Justin.
We go down. We dropped down to 5 already?
No, we're at
No,
number 3, the
number
first,
3,
the
town
first
hall.
dot, town hall park and preservation area. We're discussing slide area updates.
Oh,
So I think you all had, you were not there that evening, right? No.
No, I was not.
Anyhow, we got the bid. There was only, there were 2 bids for the installation of the slide,
Okay.
and there was only 1 bid for purchase of the equipment, which is the slide and the climbing equipment. Both were quite high. The lowest one, I should get it here, the lowest one was from another company different than we had last year. Hold on, I have it here.
I think you should have had them in the email, Pat. I think
They were in
Sent
there.
them in
Yeah, I
our-
read them. Yeah.
okay.
so the playground equipment bid,
Yeah, there was one for 7. Let me get the paper, then here, I have it here, so. I know what I'm talking about.
so bid 1 for the playground was from Pember Companies, Inc. One bidder. This is for the park at Town Hall Hillside Playground Equipment Project. Total base bid was $94,964.44. With an alternative add-on of furnish and install dual bay metal slide structure in lieu of the plastic slide structure as shown on the drawings for $58,700.
So I looked at it in detail at home before the meeting. And yes, even if skid steer guy is lowered in price, let's see the total base bid. Let's talk only about the base bid, which has the plastic slide, was 82,741. And Pember Companies had the bid for 98,596. I looked at what Pember was offering because especially last fall, what was so expensive was the installation of the wooden steps, which we have done at the ramp at Perch Lake Park. We did it by volunteers, and now it came up with 30,000 just for the stairs. And for this time, he had exactly furnished and installed wood stairs with aggregate and railing, $30,000. The other company has it with 18,200. So anyhow, one company or the other, that is only for the groundwork. Then in addition to that, there's only Pember who offered a bid for the playground equipment, including installation. And that came up to 94,964. So if you add, let's take the cheapest one, so skid steer, which is 82 plus 94, you add the numbers, that came out to an outrageous high number. When we had bid, at least when Stantec came with it, overall bid, it was around $86,000, everything together. And I had a screenshot when he did the presentation. So the town board, and I think with all reason, I was shocked. And I think the town board noticed that I was shocked to that. And I say, no way we can afford that. So some more discussions, and eventually Chris Marshall, well, we said we're not going with that. So it was denied, both bids. Then Chris Marshall came up with the proposition, had another motion that we can do it ourselves. He has the equipment and he said he would be here tonight. And it would be helpful for us because then we can ask him exactly how he's envisioning to do that. We do have from Stantec all the plans, the bid drawings, how you do the installation with footings and everything. For any builder knows how to do that. So if Chris Marshall is familiar with that, and he can do that with the plans which we have paid to Stantec already to do that for anybody who is going to install it, then that would be a much cheaper solution. Because I got an updated bid from Fireflies, Camille, and the cost from last year to this year is not very much. So all the equipment is $48,938. Let's see, $49,000 instead of 80 and 90, $170,000. So we have here quite some room. And I think I saw somewhere today, we have a budget for $90,000. So if we can do it ourselves, and we purchase the equipment from Fireflies, then we can do that. But we need to know exactly what is involved with that. We don't want to just jump. This is a little bit bigger than just the stairs we did by Perch Lake. So if Chris Marshalls can do that, and he can describe he has had experience with similar constructions, that's fine. The stairs we probably can do ourselves like we did at Perch Lake, having the drawings.
So are you talking that you would just purchase the slide and then Chris Marshall and his organization would then put in the slide?
Yeah,
And they would also, well, then volunteers or whatever would do the stair work.
what
would
I
order
don't know,
slide.
what I don't know, is he planning to charge the town or not? Is he doing as a freebie for us? That is all things in the air we should really know for sure. Have you talked to Chris more about that?
No, my understanding was the township would have to probably enter an agreement with him. It wouldn't be his organization, it's Chris himself. And he'd have to kind of explain more what he meant, but my understanding was it would basically be the township acquiring the physical goods and then volunteers, and then Chris and I also said I would help as need, would come out here and try to see how this would work. Because we already have all the drawings,
Exactly.
so we already have all the
It'd be a group of
information.
volunteers.
Go
So
ahead, Jen.
Oh, I was just saying, I'm envisioning that it would be a group of volunteers. As what we've done before with,
Yeah.
Chris
What-
helping.
what
organize that. Nino, what was the bid on reels from Firefly?
The bid from Firefly for the equipment was $48,938. And that
Okay.
includes delivery and freight. So I will go over this, the rock wall climber,
Okay,
the cable net climber, 1,078 square foot of grass mats with anchor pins.
include that too.
It
Okay,
goes underneath the equipment there. And elephant play
Yep.
double wave plastic slide 10 feet high, includes starting platform. And then includes handling and freight. And all
Okay.
the other two equipment also includes freight. I can pass along. And
okay.
then
No,
as an alternate was
my
the,
question was just to make sure,
okay,
my question was just to make sure that it was everything that we asked for.
yes, yes.
In the bid as far as equipment, except for the stairs,
yeah, exactly.
which really wasn't equipment, but, okay.
Yeah.
it
Okay.
seems slightly confusing to me that if they gave you their estimate, why they wouldn't have placed a bid for when the bid was open.
Yeah,
What are you saying?
Why didn't the company, I believe it's Firefly, is that what I heard? Why didn't they place a bid when Stantec had the bid open? So that they would be an eligible vendor?
Because when we had the first time, we had this equipment we have here last year, that was not possible. You asked Teresa about that. It was confusing to me. It had to be through Stantec and they had to do,
So what happens is Stantec manages our bids. So if anything occurs in the township that exceeds $5,000, it automatically requires us to go out to bid.
Yeah.
Stantec is the township's contracted company we deal with to send that disbursement out.
Yep,
So then what happens is Stantec opens a bid with a description and any pertinent files that would be required. So any requirements, designs, tonnages of gravel, whatever it is. And then what companies do, like you get back in your bid number here, is that you get a company's estimate to do that work.
Yeah.
And so what I was confused by is if Firefly has an estimate of this is what we would charge you to do X, why didn't they just submit that as part of the bid when we opened this up in February, March?
last time Roy Construction was submitting the bid from the equipment from Fireflies and the installation of the equipment. And that had to be like that. I don't know why, but you ask Stantec and Sarah, who did all the work for us.
Oh,
Why, I don't know.
okay.
So I don't know. So this time, we didn't get the bid from Roy Construction.
Or Firefly. Because the
No,
numbers,
because Roy Construction was buying from Fireflies and he was doing the installation of the equipment.
what I'm saying is the bid that you've just listed out wouldn't be eligible to be used. We
No,
can't
that is
base,
not a bid what I got. That is an estimate, which
Okay.
was just giving an update what it would cost this year. Because we got the same bid last year to make sure, compare if it has increased, because we're in 2023, last year we're in 2022. And then during the meeting, Teresa said, we can buy the equipment directly without bid, like a tractor.
yep,
So that is the way we can go about it. Why we didn't do it the other year, I don't know. I
I
don't-
think because there was work involved. If there's work, right? I think if.
If
I
it's- if
understood
it's
that
a
right, there's
service-
work.
yeah, if it's a service, it has to be bid out.
But yeah, but if we're just
think-
doing equipment, it does not need to be bid
I
out.
think the difference is that Roy was including the installation, he was doing the work of installing, that's the reason it had to go to bid.
Yep,
Now, it's volunteer work, so it doesn't go to bid,
it does not have to, correct?
it doesn't have to,
Yep,
so.
I did call Chris Marshall on Friday. We discussed the project a little bit. I thought that we would need the Stantec plans available to us to further our discussion with Chris and me. Chris told me he would get the plans and he'll.
Yep.
So, at that point, we'll see what direction Chris wants to take this, and I'll come back with, what we've got, Janet, to you
What
to go further.
What I see, we are running into a similar problem which we had last year, is if we decide to go that route and we know we can do it in-house, the installation, we have to order the equipment, but it will take 8 to 12 weeks before we get the equipment. Last year, we were waiting a little bit late and then we came, so let's not make the same mistake because the equipment will be a fixed cost now that can be ordered. And then in the meantime, in those 3 months, when we're waiting for that, we can arrange and prepare to install the equipment.
Yeah,
Do you
I
think-
think you're right, Nina. We need to move on
Yeah.
it right away.
That's what I think.
Should we send a motion to the board asking them to approve the estimate that you have
I can
now
do,
for
that.
them?
I can do that, but I can see what the board is going to say. We have to make sure that somebody is going to install it. They want to make sure that that is done right. And Stantec in the contract, if somebody is telling, they make sure that everything is up to specs, correct? That's what they did with the other equipment which was installed. So if we install it, I say we, whoever it is, they will come and say, hey, this has to be made a little bit better. So we have like a kind of a supervision that's up to specs. But then in addition to that, I'm concerned about some other issues which we have to include and will be some costs. There is a path going to the slide, which part is concrete. So we have to install that. We can put the excavation and prepare it, so we order somebody to pull the concrete and put it in there. That can be done by volunteers also. We need to purchase some grass to plant. So there's a little bit more things to do in addition to that, only mounting the equipment, you know?
Yeah.
And we have to really discuss that and make sure that who is doing what.
I think that when we get the set of documents on the plan,
Mhm,
then we can divide up the different quantities of
Okay.
work from that.
yeah,
And of course, as soon as I get that set of plans, I'll see that you get them, Dina, and to look at how we could divide that up.
okay. What I think we should have an extra meeting. So for the next meeting in April, the town board, we have something more organized and concrete. We have had experience. If they get everything chewed up and everything correct, then they understand it and they can approve it. Otherwise, they say, come back next month.
I don't think we should do anything on the bid.
With that, I think we need,
I don't think we should. do
I'm
anything on
sorry,
the
go ahead.
estimate for the equipment right now, because I do think Chris Marshall is driving this project through and this is no slight justice to anybody else there, but Chris has volunteered to drive this thing to see if it's possible. Like let him make a move with some information to find out further.
I can get together with Chris and discuss it and see what else has to be done.
well, and if it needs to be, it will need to be a meeting if we're gonna make a motion for the board to approve anything.
Yeah.
So, but we can do that. If, just let me know and I can help set that up before
Okay.
the board meeting.
Yeah, okay,
So right now, if that's okay, I'll have this first interaction with Chris Marshall. I'll see that Nina gets the plans to look at possibilities on dividing up the jobs there. And we'll pursue that from that point and try and be as quickly as possible.
okay.
That, anyone have any comments on that?
No,
And you don't need to write that all down in your minutes. Yeah, just abbreviate it.
I just got a message from Chris Marshall that he's on his way in.
oh, good.
There we go.
Well, then we can maybe go over the other things and go back. Yeah.
Fast.
Do you guys want to go, oh, excuse me, do you want to go to the
You're freezing up.
the member there is, oh,
Is it possible you're here for the pickleball?
I
match?
am, like Frank Tyson.
Well, should we move on from the Town Hall Park Preservation Area?
Could
Yeah.
you humor me and unmute? Unmute your mic. Thank you. You would turn that mic on.
Go on.
Oh. Should be a switch on the front though.
So we're gonna move on from the Town Hall Park and Preservation Area agenda there and move to the discussion of the possible pickleball courts per email from resident. Would you state your name and address?
Janet, can you hear me okay?
oh, yep, I can hear you.
So I'm Corinne Tyson. I've been a resident for over 30 years. Used to live a half mile that way. Now I live a half mile that way.
Excuse me, your first name was?
Corinne, Koreen. And Tyson is Theisen. Okay. Got it. That one work better?
Oh,
that
yes,
sounds
much better.
Okay, awesome. So I don't know if Janet gave you the background, I've raised my kids here, voted here. But I've been very busy working the last many years. And so finally, being retired, I'm able to get more involved in things. And one of the things my husband and I have been talking about is, wouldn't it be great if there was something that was more community building for us little bit older people in the township? We've got a great baseball field. We've got a great area here for smaller kids. But we really don't get a chance to really bond with other community members because we're too busy going to Stillwater or Hudson all the time to play pickleball, even to shop, those kinds of things. But we would love to have something like a pickleball court here in this area it actually would appeal to all ages. And so it sounds like you guys have talked about pickleball before. Do you know what pickleball is? Are you familiar with? Nope. Okay.
Kyle and I know pickleball.
Okay, so it is one of the fastest growing sports in the United States. And it is appropriate for almost any age. It's being taught at the high school. My kids learned pickleball when they were at the high school, but it's really great for older adults because it is somewhat similar to tennis or badminton, but it doesn't require you to run quite as much. You have two people on each side of the court. So the courts mainly look like a tennis court, but the racket that you use is a smaller, almost like a racquetball racket. And the ball that you use is more of a wiffle ball. So it doesn't fly as fast, although sometimes it can fly pretty fast, depends on your partner. But it is definitely a sport that is rapidly growing. I just saw an article that CNBC had, and it said it is one of the fastest growing sports in the United States right now. And they even for under 30. So it really appeals to all age groups. We've been going to Stillwater to play, and it's really hard to get a court there. They've got pickleball leagues that are going on, and they take up the courts. And so it's very popular. It'd be nice to have something a little bit more informal versus a big league here in our area. And there's a lot of different formats that it can take. You can have Lake Elmo has this hockey rink that has pickleball tournament or courts in it so that it's multi-purpose. I've seen over at Lily Lake, they have tennis courts, basketball courts, and pickleball courts all in one area. So you can have many sports. So I'm just here to lobby for it. I saw it was on the agenda a few years ago. And so that's when I reached out to say, where is it at? And then Janet gave me a call and said, do you want to stop in? And so I don't know. I'm not sure where from here, if you guys have questions for me, yeah, I wasn't sure, Janet, what you need from me.
I just wanted you to come and just to present it. And it's definitely something we can just keep on the agenda or keep talking about.
Mhm.
I love the idea. I'm in Arizona and we're trying to find a place to play with our friends right now.
Mhm.
So, and it's busy. The courts are all busy down here. I like the idea of a multi-use kind of court or area. We have had, ice skating rink come up before. Parents have wanted us to do that. But I really like your point about we have things for all ages except adults.
Mhm.
We do have a hiking path around our park there.
Sure. And I think it's a
So
great
I think-
community building type of thing. When you think about our lots are 3 acres. When I lived over here, I knew my immediate neighbors, and I might know that my neighbors had kids my same age, but I didn't know very many people in the township. And so I think meeting at the pickleball court, and that's one thing with pickleball, it really invites, you take turns. So if the courts are full, you rotate off and the next people rotate on, and it's a great way to meet people in the community.
What
Where
is
do
the
you-
size? Oh, sorry. What is the size for pickleball, please?
It is.
Because-
I also did a half of a tennis court.
Okay,
You usually
Yeah.
get two
It-
courts in
yeah.
one tennis.
It's like
Yeah.
40 by 22, I think.
Okay.
Something like
20 by
that.
44 is the official
There we go.
pickleball site.
That's what I was gonna Google it.
Yeah.
And you
It's just a
can do
little bit
temporary,
different.
go ahead.
Oh, it's just a little bit different. The net's a couple inches lower.
Right.
Like people
Tennis.
can play on a tennis court, but like if you're a good gets player, you don't like to do that because then it gets your game a little bit
Sure,
off,
yeah.
because it's a little lower than that. So I know River Falls has 4 courts down in their park down there. Where do you play in Stillwater?
There's Lily Lake, right by the ice rink. There has some courts. And then there's some courts north of Croydale that
Okay,
are some courts.
okay.
Um, I tend to actually go to Lake Elmo more just because their courts aren't reserved. And it's a first come, first serve, which works a little better for us versus the leagues that they have. The Stillwater leagues are very, in my humble opinion, a little competitive. And when you're newer, it's harder to break into that league. So we tend to go to Lake Elmo. Oakdale also has some great, it has a little neighborhood court, it's just 2 courts, and the fence going around it is a short fence. And it's just a great little neighborhood spot. So sometimes we go there because I have friends that live over
So
there.
you think that it can be used in the winter for an ice rink and then in the summertime, so it has a double use?
I think
I'm
so.
thinking
I
about
think
the
that's what they
space.
do in Lake Elmo. I was gonna try and call somebody there, but I didn't, wasn't able to get a hold of anyone to see if that's what they actually do there, but it's in a nice, in a hockey rink. Lake Elmo ones are in a hockey rink type of setup. So I assume that's what they do, but I'd have to check with them for sure.
Okay,
And then what I was gonna say is that they can be pretty temporary. I actually have, my kids got me a set at home. So we have a net that we set up on our driveway and then just, kind of use duct tape for the boundaries. So,
Okay.
or chalk or something. I mean, it can be very temporary.
okay.
I mean,
Well,
it's
it's
easy to
something
set
to
up if you
explore,
want.
that's for sure.
It's pretty
Yeah, you just need a
difficult to
flat
use the
surface.
tennis courts for pickleball courts.
A lot of them are being refashioned.
How many pickleball courts would we need to build to make it practical?
I think 2 is a great place to start. I don't know that you have to, some of them in Stillwater, you get 6, 8 long, but I think some of them were 2, the one in Lake Elmo that's within the hockey rink, there's 4 that are in that hockey rink.
Is anyone familiar with what footing would need to be installed to make it a pickleball court? Because these look like they're kind of that softened pavement.
I don't know that they're softened like the kind that you'd find in a jungle gym kind of area or kids type of thing.
No, it
Um,
looks like tennis court, but softer.
I think all the ones I've played on more like tennis court, but
Okay.
I guess I haven't analyzed.
Because
them.
some of them, because some of them are old tennis courts that were converted. So.
Right.
Yeah, they've done a lot of that in the cities, convert some of their tennis courts over.
Yeah. Yeah, in Somerset, we built tennis courts on land my dad gave to the village. There's really no footings on it except for the fence that goes around. And then it's good to have the support on where the net goes up.
In indoors, they'll play on just a gym floor, just as long
Correct.
as they have the correct.
Correct distance and line.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you want to
Alliance.
play indoors, the Stillwater High School and the Hudson High School both have indoor courts that you can use.
Okay, well, thank
Do
you
we have any
very
other
much.
questions on this?
I mean, is it something that, I guess I'm wondering if there's anything else that I can be doing to help lobby for this? Or what would be your next step related to it?
What,
I think we have to do some more research and to find the square footage, exactly where to place it.
Mhm.
Because that's the first step we have to do. Where can we put it?
Yep, and we need to look at costs. We need to get it in our budget. And so there's more stuff we have to do, but I'll keep it on the agenda so we can keep the conversation going. And
Okay,
if we have any kind of public meeting or if we do anything else, I'll let you know. so
Okay.
that you can
So-
Be involved.
I'm interested too in checking out the Lake Elmo rink. You said that they had 4 of them inside the
Yes.
rink there.
yeah, that's right
I
at the,
think- at this point, I think anytime we could do something that's a multi-purpose rather than just for one thing, otherwise, like this
Right.
winter, we had a lot of months that we wouldn't be able to do
Oh,
any. much
and I think an
with it.
ice
Yeah.
skating rink would be a great community thing as
Yeah.
well. I mean, you see the one down in Bayport, it's used all the time by families.
Yeah.
So, mhm.
So that would be a nice thing. There is I actually worked for the New Brighton Parks and Recreation Department and got into the whole pickleball thing when it first started. So the first thing we did is kind of offered pickleball lessons, had someone come in and we offered the, $10 pickleball lessons to get people going. We started in our gyms and it was just really people having fun and whatever. And then it kind of morphed into the league thing. You said when they, all of a sudden they get it, started getting a little bit more, competitive and professional with it.
Right.
I don't think that would be a problem here just because
No.
we're a little bit more out and we're rural,
Right.
that kind of thing, but eventually, it started with just a few courts. I was then, I had 2 different schools, 4 courts to each school. I had one that was like the professional, more competitive one, and then I had the ones that were just the drop-in, have fun, kind of thing. And like you mentioned, the one thing is that, a lot of our kids, like my kids are 30 and 33, they did learn how to play pickleball in school. So they're excited about it too. There is a little bit of a gap there, like the seniors like to do it. And then there's a little gap that didn't get it in school, but a lot of them do play it in school. It's one of the things that they enjoy. So it is something that, if we do get it started, it would grow,
Mhm.
So,
because it is so popular.
so maybe my recommendation would be someone want to take this as a takeaway. Kind of figure out roughly what a 2 or a 4, 2 or a 3 court would cost and where it would fit. So that you understand what your cost per square foot is and talk to surrounding communities and see if they have some form of multi-purpose. I was in one of the groups that didn't have pickleball. We had badminton, so.
Yeah. with bad news.
Pickleball's way better than
I got-
badminton.
I
in
have
that age.
no knowledge of what this is.
Things with pickleball is you can literally learn how to play it in an hour,
Well,
I
it
mean,
is
there's-
me, so I wouldn't go that far, but.
it's a,
It's easy.
So
it
what I
is an
was,
easy thing to learn
Mhm.
quickly, and that's why people like it, that's why they do like it.
I think that the few steps we have to go is find where we can place it. Second, what would be the cost? And then maybe have more people, like a kind of a survey, are they interested in that? How many?
Mhm.
And then go from there. Then it has to go through the town board and a lot of steps.
Sure.
we'd
It
put
will
it
not
in
be
this
in
plan.
1 year, that's for sure. Thank you.
We can, either I can help do some of that research, or Pat, if you want to, we can do that and have some more information by our next meeting.
Yeah. I'm a little hesitant to do that just because of what I've got going on this month. I'm
Okay, well, the next
sorry,
meeting.
but
we choose-
yeah,
No,
I've
no,
got
that's fine.
the stuff
And I
with my
can do that
mom and
too.
and then with the
Okay,
fall festival.
I'll take it on for looking at 4 courts and building it.
okay. Sounds good.
Awesome.
And
Well,
have
if there's
some
anything that
preliminary
I can help
numbers.
with, I'd be happy to help as well. Can't say I'm an expert in building courts and that type of thing, but
But you can bring information to
I
us. if
can,
you
I
want.
can research what the best of them.
What's your email?
What was that?
I have
What's
that,
your
Mark.
email?
I have it.
Oh, you have it?
I
Okay.
have it. I'll give it to you because
Okay,
I
if
don't
you
want
can
it,
send that to
I don't
me,
want
I'll
it
do
recorded.
Sure. Yep.
I'm sorry, I
Awesome.
just know I wouldn't get it to it this month. So,
Well, thank you for hearing me out. I'm excited about the possibility. So,
yeah.
all righty.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, that's fine.
Now we'll go back to our previous item, the Town Hall Park and Preservation Area, to discuss the slide area update. And Chris, what do you have to say?
Thank you. So I spoke with Stan Tech Lee and requested the blueprints and the design from Stan Tech that the businesses bid off of. He said he would get them to me. As far as moving forward and completing this, I have no issues with it. I feel that it should be something that the community or a few of us put together and get it completed. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, when we had that meeting, we've been going on this slide thing for a couple of years. And I do think every time we get re-engineered, it costs another $50,000.
Yeah.
I think we started out with a slide that would cost between 50,000 and 100, and now we're closer to 200,000. There's no reason why we can't divide up the bid specs that we've got there, Chris, and look at how we can build that ourselves.
And that's why I brought that up is, maybe I'll own some of the thought process. I didn't really think about it last year. We all had different stuff on our minds. This year, I looked at it from a cost point of view, a budget point of view, and went, wow. This in today's environment with this area, I felt that there should be enough people in the community to pull together and unite and get something like this done. It's pretty simple. It's outside, it's straightforward. It isn't something where we need a bunch of people involved in a bunch of inspections.
I have some questions for that. I remember when I was discussing the slope, the angle and all that for the installation, which Stantec coming with the slope, and then the manufacturer calculates it in angles. What does need to happen is to grade it. And do you have the equipment, or does the town have the equipment so somebody can use it and grade it? Because that is not some hand labor to do that. We need some machinery.
I have the equipment. That's why I decided to stand up.
Okay. So that is great. That is,
So as far as volunteering and getting groups together, we have a core group of a few volunteers that are really able to that actually put in the steps at Perch Lake.
Yeah.
They also did an outstanding job with helping, but no, we haven't reached out to them or had them do anything in the last couple years. Yeah, do you want, how should we coordinate all that? How should we coordinate who and who can do what and when? And
Well, I haven't done much with the park committee for a couple of years, but I did head up the stair plan with Dana at Perch Lake. I don't mind heading up the volunteer group on this. I can get started on contacting people and getting a list together.
okay.
I actually know people with backhoes and graders and stuff like that too. I'm sure, Chris, we can pull this off.
Absolutely, I think we can. I think the first piece of it here is to get moving on purchasing the hard equipment that we need from the source of
Yeah.
the playground equipment, okay?
And you were not here, but I mentioned that equipment will take from 8 to 12 weeks before we get it here. So the town has to purchase it, and then they can place the order, and then it will take the 12 weeks, let's calculate the 12 weeks before it's here. So it'll be by June, if we can get April, May, June, and July is when we can install it. And that's the reason we should do it soon, so we don't run in October and we have the equipment and stuck like last year.
And for my piece of all this, I have to be fluid and flexible with the whole situation, just out of patience, weather,
Whether is it?
the source of where we're getting it from, shipping, I mean. In my career, everything screws it up. So patience is required on lots of that kind of build. And then what person or group is gonna head up getting a purchase agreement together to buy it or come before the board with it, or?
Well, there's one manufacturer, one company who has, same company who supplies the existing equipment here.
Okay,
We have the bid from them. It includes the freight and I can send you the copy because the town needs that. That's it's the same from last year, only with a little bit adjustments for this year. But it includes freight, it includes the grass mats, it includes the slide. And that's it. So the same company will deliver everything at once.
okay,
And you have seen when they came and it was the fall, I think it was you stored the equipment.
yeah,
last
I
year?
stored all the equipment last time, so,
Did you talk to John from
Yep.
Roy? Okay,
yep, the last project, we kept all the equipment at my facility, and then now, so if we move forward with this project, which I'm fine with, we'll have to coordinate that I have a machine here to unload this stuff like we did
yeah,
before. And with great weather coming forward, we can unload it here and keep it here. Whether we keep it in the public works building or keep it somewhere where it doesn't grow legs, we can do that.
okay.
So I guess from a standard procedure, I suppose we should submit this to the town for next month, right?
That's what I intend.
We could make a
yeah.
motion today to present that to the board next month.
Okay,
And is that the bid we want, Nina?
Yeah, that's the bid.
Are you familiar with this, Janet?
Yes, from our discussion.
I can show you, yeah.
I don't think I've seen it. Did you email it to me, Nina? I don't know if I've seen it, but that's okay. I'm
Okay.
good.
Yeah,
with
it's the same one, so
Yeah.
that's. I think the cost, okay.
Okay, I have one there.
You can keep this one. if you
oh,
want.
that's fine, that's fine.
So I think now that it's sent to the town, and I think if Mark can find a group of people, the names, and he can explain what we need, and if I get the documents and see the plans, I think we need different, how do we say, people with some different skills, because they, in addition to put the slide up and install it, there's some grass mats which has to be installed. Somebody has to be able to guide us. There will be some manual how to install it and probably some common
I'm-
sense, but then need some grass planted in there. And then we need also the stairs to be built, because once we put the slide in, people will start to use it and we need some stairs to go up. So we need a group who can build the stairs. Another group who can manufacture and grade it and install it. And then another group, maybe the seeding and the planting. So those things I think we should discuss in another meeting and have the people ready that they commit to that, so we
Yeah.
can count on that.
Those people are in this community.
Okay. So I don't know very many people here. Mark knows, if you know,
Yeah,
Pat, if
Yeah.
you know somebody, I will ask around. I will be available, that's for sure.
well, I think it's a case of the old adage of many hands make little work. And,
But it has to be organized and they have to know what to do. And for
I'm
example,
well-
building and
I'm
putting
well
stools in
aware.
it.
yeah, I'm well aware, but
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be,
it's not.
A
too complicated,
bureaucracy.
but yeah. So shall we make a motion? Maybe?
Yeah, I'd make a motion that we accept or or move forward to the town board, the Fireflies Play Environments bid of $48,938 for slide playground equipment.
I will second that.
I have a question.
Okay,
Is your bid for a steel slide or a plastic slide?
it's a
Plastic.
plastic slide.
Okay.
Yep.
I just know that had been an ask in the past.
Yep.
Figured
I
I'd
also-
ask.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. I also have a question on the wood for the stairs. I know we probably don't need to order that yet, but just kind of have an idea of what the cost would be for that.
I think with the ball in motion, that supply chain should be started and dealt with. We're in my career, we're seeing small issues here and there, and I just as soon not come across it when we need it.
I looked a little bit based on the drawing we had from the map of the stairs. So I roughly estimated how much the wood could cost to build the stairs. And I came up with approximately $3,000, and that is running so we don't get short. And that's when I looked at the estimate from Stantec for the stairs and the material, it was around that. Probably can be less, but the wood only is $1,000. The rail is 500, and there's 16 posts, and there's some gravel, and we need some of the material so the grass doesn't come up like happens at the Birch Lake, so it stays solid. So I guesstimated $3,000, not more than this, probably less, but so we have an idea of what the cost is.
Yeah, I do think when we get those bid specs in, we can dissect that and go backwards.
Then
What do you-
I estimated separately, because we need to do that, from the existing concrete path to where the slide goes, there's some concrete, there were some stones and some more concrete. And I think that's something we as volunteers can do. My son has done his own path to his main entrance, is to putting some boards, preparing the gravel underneath, and then ask for the truck with concrete, put it out in one day, it's laid out. It's not so much, it's not a big thing. It's not like the whole thing, but graded. So that would be an option. The cost, I calculated, my son said it cost him $4,000. That was 2 years ago. I'm guesstimated that was only the concrete. The labor is not included, but we can do that with volunteers. So we need to have a little bit of the figures, how much that will cost, the extra things, plantings, the concrete and the stairs. So
Do you think we could, I guess I'm just looking for ideas. We'll send the board this motion for just the playground equipment. And then maybe by the next month, we'll have a better idea of everything else that we could present to the board that would include the stairs, concrete and stuff like that. Does that sound like a good plan?
I'm afraid, based on our experience with the town board, you remember when we had the trails and the post for the preserve, they wanted to have exactly a view what we're going to do. So I'm guessing they want to have a more concrete, how much, what we're going to do and what and how we're going to do that. That's my impression based on the experience when we had with the preserve, you
But
remember?
You already have what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. It's in your design.
What?
You already have that information. It's in the design document that was submitted for your bid.
Yes, but who is doing that? And the cost? Those costs are not in the bid. We have to find out, and somebody has to. We need money for that.
Yeah, I do think that once we get the spec plans, we can go backward from there. And I would like to say we could do that for their April board meeting, but we haven't got the plans yet, Janet.
Yeah, exactly. Once we have the plans, we can move a little
Okay.
bit more forward.
Okay,
with
so
some-
we'll just move, perfect. So we'll just move forward with the equipment for now.
Okay,
for
yeah.
this next-
And we
Okay.
have two board members to explain this at the
Yeah.
board meeting.
That is correct. In the thing that's moving all the time is the 2023 cost of doing business. I know that I'm not gonna sit here today and quote the concrete price that I was given to do my work coming up, because I know it's already changed. And then maybe the thing that you can get locked down is work with a local lumberyard of ABC out there and get them a little more committed to the price of the lumber, and then that part would be satisfied.
We use them for the Birch Lake stairs.
Well,
Yeah, well, I
so,
think we have. to-
so
we
you
kinda
have a
to-
relationship.
Mhm.
So the material is, for the stairs is not a problem. I'm
And-
not familiar with the concrete, but it has to be done too.
Yeah, and this is me speaking this evening on the fact of I stood up, we stood up and said, hey, let's try and reduce the cost of this stuff. I'm gonna remind the rest of my board that we're here to reduce the cost of stuff. And if we come, or you guys present the cost of 2023 purchasing, I think that's a movement that they're gonna understand. Coming there with minimal answers is where we run into pushback.
If I look at the budget, the budget for the playground equipment is 90,000. The equipment only is 50,000, so we can for 15,000, we can do the remaining stuff with no problem, I think.
Well,
Maybe run up to 20, but I think,
We don't want to tell them that, Nina.
well, I'm honest here.
I mean, this is too early yet.
Yeah, that's too early, but I mean, initially, we have here the maximum, and I always have stayed conservative with that.
So I think you're trying to say we've got plenty of room there. to do
That's
we
what
need
I
to do.
think, yeah.
Any other comments on this project?
no, I think it's something that we haven't seen in a long time from our community, and let's see if it's successful or a failure. And how I look at it is, in today's environment, people are always concerned about how we're dwindling away their tax money and frivolously doing this and that, but yet they want a great community. This is one piece that I think anybody that cares should pull together and try a little bit of it.
I have been here in the summertime a few times by the playground with my grandchild. And everybody's saying, we need a slide, we need a slide. Well, when that slide is up here, and we have no other slide in the whole neighborhood, which will be like this one here. So people, I think they will start to realize that we're doing something unique. Not unique but it is not, you don't find it around here,
Well,
because they don't have the hill. we
Then I have a
actually-
great idea. We'll have a fast track lane where they can pay by credit card, get to the top faster. And then the regular lane.
We take Venmo too here. We don't discriminate. I don't hold back.
Every kid with a Venmo.
Anyhow,
Yes,
So-
I,
Which one is
I like
fine?
that idea, yeah. I like that idea, Chris, and I like everything that said about that, like, it will be successful.
I think
We
so.
will, the community come together and get it done.
I just have one more question on this, and that would be directed at you, Justin. What are your thoughts? Your other board member here today.
I have to agree with Chris. I mean, everyone wants to stand there and say, you're wasting money, you're wasting money. So put your money where your mouth is. You want to have a really nice place to live and you don't want to spend a lot of money, then come out and volunteer. As I told Chris after the meeting, I've got a skid loader. I'll happily come over here. I got tools. Let's put it together. But I think that having a really clear plan, what needs to get done, how it needs to get done is what you'll need, because it doesn't have to be ruled by committee. But we have to just have like, here's the peg, here's the area we have zoned off, and this needs to be brought down this many feet, and then we're coming in with the the aggregate, and we're gonna take this much for drainage, and this is what the Stantec drawings say, and the one thing I was curious about, because I don't recall seeing it, is the stairs. I mean, are we just using like green treated lumber, or is this,
No, special treated lumber for on ground.
so it's not like ultra decking or anything like that,
No,
where
no,
we can get it for 99 cents a foot or anything, right?
No, it's the same material we used for the Perch Lake, the steps there. And the
Green treat.
green treated, but it's a special to green treated ground. It will tolerate to be in the ground. What they use in state parks and all that stuff.
Okay. Yeah, and I think the other thing too is, right, I mean, I was a listed contractor at Menards. Let's just go try and leverage those things to see if we can get better pricing.
There's another issue I think we should not forget. We have spent, what was it, almost $20,000. We have paid Stantec for the drawings and everything. If we step back and we say we don't do that, we have lost $20,000 for nothing.
We ain't, I asked for them.
Yeah, that is the truth. We are in the middle already on the trail, which we had started 3-4 years ago. So now we're almost there. So if we can do it with volunteers, let's keep plugging and finish it up, and then people will see what we have done. Because giving up now, we're losing a lot. Then we have to start all over again. That's my view. What do you think?
I agree.
Chris?
I agree.
I'm sitting here going forward.
Okay.
You got two of us sitting here ready to go build it for you as soon as the ground's thawed.
So we have a motion and we have a second. Janet, any other comments you have on that?
Nope, I don't.
All in favor?
Wait, who
Aye.
was our second? Who was
Yeah,
our
I
second? Oh, okay, it was Mark and Nina.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Right.
And thank you, Chris.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Mhm.
Trying to get away from this for a long time.
Well, I know Chris really loved the price of the Pember bid there of $210,000 to install a slide and dig a hole.
This is ridiculous.
Evidently, they must have a lot of work. That they don't have to worry about it.
All right, back to our discussion. Discuss further brush cleanup around town hall building and volunteer opportunities.
Well. You have any more information on that?
Probably that'll take a second fill right now, I would think. Because we still doing, Kyle is heading up the kiosk and the signs out at the reserve.
Kyle is going to be a busy man when he comes back.
Yeah, as soon as they get back in town, yeah. We should be in town late March, for sure by April.
Yeah, you'll still get some snow in April, don't worry.
Oh gee, yeah.
So let's go down. The nature preserve, that is the third dot on this line here. You're on there, Kyle.
Yep,
Yeah, my plan with that, Mark, was when I get back in April is to get a core group of people together with volunteers and Nina for sure. And to kind of go through the plan and then the building materials that we put to the town board for approval. And just, kind of get the ball rolling on all that. I
Yeah.
can't really do too much from where I'm at right now, but that's
Yeah.
the plan.
Okay, Perch Lake lunch area and parking lot. I haven't really been down there to look around, but why don't you and I go down there, Nina, before the next meeting and make some notes?
we can do that. What I think, there was some weeds growing in the gravel. on the steps. So we maybe put some weed killer and maybe we can put that material which solidifies there, so the weeds will not come through. So we can use that.
Teresa was bugging me about the signs last fall. Take a picture of them and see if we've got what we need down there. on the
Okay,
sign.
we'll see, okay.
We'll go through the thing. I've
Yeah.
got a list that we can do. Dina and I will do that before our next meeting and
Yep.
Grant with us.
Okay.
The Thalen Cemetery.
We can table that because Lori wants to talk about the trap rock or whatever. We can table that till next time.
Okay,
Yeah, but Laura, do you remember what Laurie mentioned? After the summer, when there's a lot of trap work from repairing the road,
yeah.
there's some leftover, we can maybe use some of that in the cemetery. So I think that's an excellent idea.
Then we've got the Highway 35 rest area. Who's in charge of that?
What is the Highway 35 rest area?
It's the old state rest area by across kind of kitty corner from the cemetery.
So the information that I can report to you guys is I mow it once or twice a year with the town tractor.
So I have a question. There's a lot of little trees that are kind of on the south east part of that. Do you want those little trees out of there so that you can mow that whole thing, or
That-
they,
That'd be
they-
great.
or do you want them left there, or what do you?
No, that's fine. It's a case of the operator I have is skilled and he knows that I don't want the tractor beat up doing that. So, yeah, if we went in there and eradicated them, that'd be great.
Okay,
Okay,
it can be another, if
Well,
they're
if
not
you-
too big, volunteer job.
If you set up a date and let us know when you're there, Pat, we'll bring our chainsaws and whatever we got.
we
I got
will
those
do
little
that.
Things I pull behind with my truck, you know, too, I pull out.
Pull out stuff,
I pull
yeah,
out a lot of
okay.
stuff.
So remove the smaller trees.
Okay,
Well, I'm just afraid they're gonna get to the size. If we could do it now, we could do it relatively easy.
Yeah.
But if we
Also
leave
good
it
point.
go too much longer, we're not gonna be able to get them out of there.
you wanna set something up in May?
Yeah,
I'm gonna duck out. I still got some cattle to do.
Okay.
thank you very
Thank you,
much
Chris.
for coming.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Chris.
Yep.
Okay, so I'll set something up.
Now, the fall festival, your name comes up again, Pat.
You might want to unmute again so she can hear you. You're muted.
You're muted. Oh, you. Okay.
We're down to Fall Festival.
I was really good on this, Justin. I got hearing aids a couple months ago. They've really been working for me. I was at a board meeting last week and I heard everybody. I forgot to put them in after I took a shower today.
Well, at least we know you're clean.
Fall
Yeah.
Festival.
Most people don't complain they can't hear me.
Okay,
Hearing
so
aids are
Fall
fine.
Festival, we do have a meeting set up for April 6th at 6 PM. Janet and I will be there and we are inviting all of the heads for all the different committees so that we can have the whole town participate in the Fall Festival. So April 6th at 6 PM.
And the heads of all the committees, and then at the last board meeting, some of the board members also would be interested. In fact, I think Chris
Perfect.
was one of them. So,
Okay.
so can you make sure that the board members and are also included?
Yes.
I think they
Yes.
usually are anyway.
And I did talk to Terry and she said I should just get back to her because she can just send out something from
Okay.
there, you know, to everybody.
Yeah, usually Terry just tells us where to go.
Yep. So I
We all know
will,
who really runs the town.
yeah, I will do that. So. Okay, so that's basically where we are with that. Okay.
I'm just gonna quick share that. We could maybe set up a temporary pickleball court
For Fall Festival.
for Fall Festival.
Oh, that would be a good
Yeah,
idea.
that's a good idea.
Yes, so,
Yeah, we could get someone to do a few little lessons there.
Yeah.
It's a great idea.
I think I would sign up
Nita said she'll sign up.
for a
Okay.
lesson.
Okay. All right, good idea.
Okay, discuss use of impact fees and acquisition of the right of way for trail to 23rd Street, and it should be River Road in here too. Is another one we're using the impact fees for.
Yep.
Do we need
I-
to talk
I
about
listed-
that?
Well, probably not. I can just update. I put Lori, or Justin could talk too, but the board approved our, that the impact fees would go for bike trails for the two that we recommend, which is, from basically River Road up to Trout Brook Road. And then, the trail that we had for the TAP grant. So from the, Loop Trail up to 23rd Street. So they did approve that. And then the plan commission, it's on their agenda to be working with WisDOT on obtaining the right of way for the trail that would go up to 23rd Street. And so that's why I said I would to their meeting so we can be in the loop on what's going on there. So that, I think that's pretty much
Okay,
it for that. I don't think there's any update, anything else.
review the park management plan.
Yes, okay, now you can get out the copies. The park management plan that, the one that I have a copy of that Gail started for us is only 14 pages. But then she went in and updated, made it a little bit bigger because it kind of had two examples that we could use. That I had Terry make for you
Did
today.
Gail do that?
And it's on the Google Drive too. If you want to look it up, you certainly can. I know sometimes we have issues. So I just thought if we printed them, that might be easier. Basically, the park management plan is what I hope to use, just kind of like, just follow along with the agenda, like how I have park management plan as to, following our goals and objectives or the short term or the long term plan. And then also the budget for each one, we wouldn't have to do probably each one each month, but kind of always looking to make sure we're doing what we say we're going to be doing. The one that you guys have copies and is on the Google Drive. It's a lot more involved. There's a lot in it. It's really good, but there's a lot of pages, like you can tell for the town park. There's probably 4 or 5 pages in there. I'm worried that we're gonna, it's more information than what I think we need. All that information is in our outdoor rec plan. Mark, also, there's also copies of just the one sheet.
Yeah,
Specific park. I think it's called, I just want on that, I've been keep thinking, I was just gonna kind of take the information we already have from the outdoor rec plan and kind of just put it in here so we have, something on every one of our parks that we can look at. Like I said, that we can look at every so often. But I'd like to see something maybe a little bit more streamlined.
it's two-sided.
What's that?
We just, he was just showing me, because I didn't have a copy of it, but I had just said when we were in New Brighton, we basically had like a page for each park.
Yeah.
And just kept it very simple, bullets of what we were supposed to get done,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. So, which was a lot easier it was easy to work with.
Yep, exactly. And I agree. I mean, I get overwhelmed with I think that's why it's taken me so long. Every time I look at it, I'm overwhelmed by all the pages.
Yeah.
No, so I can kind of, do you want me to try to work on something that's just kind of a combination? More of a one page like what we have, what Mark has there. I want to add budget so we can look at that each time.
It's just for meeting flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
You want to tackle that, Janet?
Yeah, I'll tackle it. I'll try if I can, if I don't get to it. But I can do that. And then, we can kind of stick with how if we want to keep doing like how everybody kind of has a park, we can keep doing that. And then, if you have stuff to add or take away, we can just do that at our meeting. Or in the Google Drive.
Okay.
Because Gail actually had well, she showed me how to do it. And I kind of played with it a little bit today. I can do that.
Okay.
And I'll probably put it just in the same order as the agenda so that they kind of all go together.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I don't have it right in front of me, the specific park plan, the one page, does that have a budget on it?
Annual budget is on the bottom.
Yep, okay, I added that today, okay. I added that when I was in there today. Do you see anything else looking at that you'd want added? And I think Pat, you helped with that, either you and Mark did that, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago. Does it
Yeah,
have
we-
lawn?
we
and
had-
garden?
We had set that up so that we could assign a person to it. They could go answer these questions once a
Right.
year and take care of
Yep.
it.
Are there any that were filled out that you know of?
I haven't seen any.
Okay, if it was, then that's, I think, what Gail put into this, to her plan, is what had been written up this. So. Okay, so I'm just gonna scrap the big plan and just start fresh with the one. It'll still be several pages because it's gonna have each park in it, but it'll just be one page per park.
That sounds good.
Sounds good, Janet.
Yeah.
Do we need to have,
Well,
Do we
it's nice though that I have all the, the bigger documents to use as input,
yeah, but we also have the outdoor rec plan, and the whole
Right.
plan was, the reason why this is delayed is because I was gonna kind of take it from the outdoor rec plan. So we already have that. Yeah, that,
Right.
like, I think you said, that's kind of the master plan. This will be more the working plan. Right?
Mhm.
Want to have listing of everything that's in each one. Like the preserve, we have how many of each tree they have. The town park has everything in the playground, all the buildings. That's probably something we don't need.
I'm thinking, what would be the value for that? I think that could be like I don't know, like an inventory for the future.
Inventory, that's the word I was looking for. thank
Yeah.
you.
You need that.
Well,
with
and,
that.
it might not be a bad idea to have an inventory, but I'm not sure you want the inventory
In the
part of the,
management plan.
and of the working document for the management plan.
Yeah,
The management plan is more like a work plan.
Yeah.
Like, what are you gonna accomplish this year? What are you gonna get done? Kind of thing.
yep.
The inventory would probably be separate, something maybe
Yeah.
that's next on our list or something to inventory everything that we have in the park, so we know that, but the management plan, we should just,
Okay,
look
so
at
do
the
you think,
things
do you think we still need two then? Do I still need the one that does have all the inventory and all the history in, plus one that's more the one-page working document? Plus the
Most-
outdoor rec plan?
is most of the history in that document already in the outdoor rec plan?
Yes,
Then you shouldn't need it.
Okay.
Then you should not need it.
that I
I think the inventory could be like an addendum, 2 pages, or 1 page, whatever it is, like a summary, what is existing at the end of the management plan. So if you want to refer what's in that park and what do you have to do, well, then you can see. I don't know, I will think about the inventory. If you want, I can try to manage that.
Well, just, okay,
outdoor
just think about it and then I'll
Yeah.
look at it too, but yeah, it is an
Yeah, we
outdoor.
can
I can
I will
even,
think
I could
about
even.
it and we can
reference what
discuss
page-
it.
I could even reference what page it's in the outdoor rec plan or something. Yeah, I'm trying not to reduce, or, we don't need to redo stuff or have more than. It's enough to get one thing done here. So, I mean, just since I've gone to having each park on the agenda and going, I think that's helped. But it needs to be more. We need to have more of the objectives and budget and all that for each one. So, okay, I'll work on that. And if you guys have any input, just shoot me an email or
Okay,
text or call me.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Committee or subcommittee recommendations? If we can get that outdoor rec plan off our back, Janet, that would sure be good.
Oh,
Somehow.
amen.
I mean, I'll do anything to help you,
I
or be at any meeting that's set up. I don't care what time,
know.
what
I
time
know.
it is.
What time, what place?
I'm surprised I didn't hear from Sarah this week, so I'll follow up on Monday on that.
So initially you said we will have a meeting before our next meeting, which is that April 19th.
Yep, I'll either do that, or if I hear from her and I think we should get it done, can get something to the board, I'll do that. I'll set it up sooner. So the
Uh,
board we have the motion for the equipment. So I can send that to Teresa, or unless Justin, you want to ask Teresa to put that on the agenda.
You
Um,
just want the motion from tonight put on the agenda, correct?
Correct.
Do you have the amount? Give me 1 second.
48.
Or can you just, do you guys just typically send that to Terry?
No, I usually send the whole
Matt.
motion to, Teresa, but she,
Janet
they
usually
don't put
sends
it
it
on.
to Terry.
Janet, if you already have a process in place, I don't want to step on it. If you want me to
Okay.
draft something up, I will happily do it.
I-
If you
I
already
can
have
do
a
it.
process, you go for it.
Okay, I'll do it. But what I was gonna say, I always put out the whole motion, but then they just put a few words on the agenda. But that's fine, just so it's on there. So I'll do it.
Well, thank you, Justin, for coming tonight.
I don't know if everyone wants to thank me, but I'm glad you guys all had me.
No, thank you.
I
Thank you.
always
I
love to
appreciate
have
it.
him.
And we need a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn?
I will second it.
Okay,
All
that's a
in favor?
motion, a second.
All in favor? Yes.
Yes.
Hi.
Aye.
We are
Motion
adjourned.
carried.
Have a
Meeting
good
adjourned.
night.
Yep, thank you.
Thank
See you
you.
guys in
Enjoy.
person next month.
Yeah,
And
see
rest a
you.
lot,
Enjoy.
Kyle, because when you get back, it looks like you're gonna be working like